New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you here on a Friday evening. It's 5 o'clock on the Mountain Time Zone, and that means it is time for our good news. Just as the video shows, an opportunity to take a look at some of the good news stories in our lives and share those out into the world. Now, remember, we get most of our good news stories over at the Good News Network, goodnewsnetwork.org. Give those folks some love and attention that they deserve. And you'll even find a few stories here tonight from Sunny Skies, sunnyskies.com. Another great place to find good, inspiring news stories. Again, so grateful that you're with us here tonight. So let's jump right on into it. I love this first story. Do you have a kid that's got a VR headset somewhere around the house? Yeah, I know a lot of people do. And, well, it turns out they're for more than, well, let's get this on stage. Come on. There we go. Turns out they're for more than just playing games or getting exercise. In a study conducted at Britain's University of Exeter, the scientists observed an effect that was strong as painkillers and lasted even 45 minutes in length, all from a VR experience. Now, this is their early experiments. Turns out showing people scenery and beautiful pictures of reality was twice as effective as they had imagined it would be, and twice as effective as using just 2D video and sound experiences of the same scenery. Dr. Sam Hughes, senior lecturer in pain neuroscience at the University of Exeter, led the study and was quoted, "We've seen a growing body of evidence that show exposure to nature can help reduce short-term everyday pain, but there has been less research into how this might work for people living with chronic or long-term pain. Not everyone's able to get out for walks in nature, and those, particularly those living with long-term health conditions. The experiment was funded by the Academy of Medical Sciences and involved 29 healthy patients who were shown 2 still images of nature after having pain delivered to the forearm by an electric shock." I didn't sign up for that. On the first visit, they measured the change in pain that occurred over a 50-minute period following the electric shocks. On the second, they immersed the same participant in a 45-minute virtual reality 3D 360-degree experience of the waterfalls of Oregon to see how this could change the development of pain sensitivity. The scene was chosen specially to maximize therapeutic events. In the second visit, they explored the same scene, but on a 2D screen, and patients were then examined by fMRI scans. Wow. They went to a good experiment here. And what they revealed, what those brain scans revealed, that people with stronger connectivity in brain regions involved in modulating pain responses experienced less pain after watching the VR version. The results show that natural scenes delivered using VR can help change how pain signals are transmitted in the brain and spinal cord during long-term pain periods of pain. My gosh. Wow, isn't that cool? I love it. I love it. I love it. Medical science making leaps and bounds. And here's this one. This one feels important too. A new device and study allows for quickly spotting meningitis in babies and infants with greater accuracy than ever before. A study showed that it identified the potentially deadly infection in newborns and infants with a 94% accuracy. Wow. Now, this is a high-resolution ultrasound device, and it offers a non-invasive alternative to lumbar punctures, which are also called spinal taps. And we're not going to talk about those. Meningitis is an inflammation of the membrane surrounding the brain and the spinal cord. It's caused by a bacteria or a fungus, and it can be fatal if not diagnosed and treated early. Now, there have been advances over the last decade, and meningitis still remained a major concern for children's health. This new international study, published in the journal Pediatric Research, was led by scientists at the Barcelona Institute for Global Health in Spain and involved patients at hospitals in Spain, Mozambique, and Morocco. The aim was to validate the Neurosonics device, which uses high-frequency ultrasound applied through the baby's open fontanelle and the membranous gaps between the bones of the skull. All good. Overall, specifically, it detected high white blood levels in cerebral fluid with approximately a 94% sensitivity and a 95% specificity. The device was able to correctly classify 17 out of 18 meningitis cases and 55 out of 58 controls without meningitis. Wow. Good work, good news on the meningitis front. I love how the doctors are doing it, folks. But it's not only the doctors. There is another story here on that goes right along with this, however, and it's the hospitals. Well, a Jamaican university student has invented a self-cleaning door handle. That's right. How many times have you watched the doctor come in and immediately go for the liquid hand cleaner? Well, now we've got a doorknob that can do that. Using ultraviolet light similar to various automatic cleaning devices, this was invented and the devices that we started to deploy during the COVID-19. This kills 99.9% of pathogens while being safe for humans and animals. Not sure why animals would be opening doors in a hospital. Bacteria multiplies and spreads fast in the tropical climate, making the Caribbean an ideal place to test this. Inventor Rayvon Stewart won the Jamaica's Prime Minister's National Youth Award and the Commonwealth Health Initiatives Award in the process of seeking a patent under international intellectual property law. His story would be that of a classic second-generation immigrant to America if he were one, but since he isn't, Stewart and others view it as an outgrowth of the Caribbean's growing science and engineering talent. He and his cousins were the first in his family to attend university, having grown up in rough agricultural conditions. Even though times were tough, we never really thought about that. We knew we had something to do as a family, Stewart was quoted as saying. The device is called the Zermosal. Sorry. The door handle is shaped a little like a Pac-Man. About 2/3 of the circular handle houses the technological components beneath a gray shell, while the part you grab to open the door is under a set of ultraviolet lights that activates. They activate via touch sensor, and it only takes about 30 seconds to disinfect the handle. My apologies, folks. I'm stumbling over myself a little today. You know, it is the second week back for me as Reverend Barbara Jean is on a vacation. She'll be back next week, though, with more good news. We got to take a commercial, but before we do that, I want to tell you about one more important story. Well, maybe not important in a big way, but man, big for this woman. Jen Powell was the first female umpire in Major League Baseball. Yep, it all happened on Sunday. She got the phone call on Friday, I understand. And she went up to the big league. Sorry, it happened on Saturday. She worked a doubleheader with the Miami Marlins and the Atlanta Braves and worked for the first base in the first game, worked third base in the second game. And on the Sunday game, they put her behind home plate. Congratulations, Jen. You've made history. It is said that the black baseball cap she wore, I'm sorry we don't have a picture of that, will immediately be sent to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. All around, good news happening in the world. All right, let's take a quick break. Let a couple of our sponsors say hello. Let you know a little bit more about some of the things going on around New Thought Media Network. But we'll be right back with more after this.
Well, hello there. This is Dr. Sydney Steen. I am the senior minister and spiritual leader of the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. We are a oneness center for spiritual living. And I just want to invite you to something that I think is really, really special. In October, from the 6th to the 10th, at Unity Village in Lee Summit, Missouri, the affiliated New Thought Network will be hosting the most wonderful retreat. This will serve your soul. It will lift your heart. And oh my goodness, I want to call it an advance. So come hear wonderful speakers like Martha Creek, Sonny Cantrell, and the music will be off the hook with Ricky Byers. There will be so much there to support your soul. I hope that you will join us. You can go to antn.org. That's antn.org. You can get all the information. You can sign up. You can use a credit card, and it is safe and secure, and I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
Yes, come have an adventure with us at Unity Village, the ANTN annual retreat. ANTN.org. Look it up. It's worth your time and effort. All right, let's get back into the good news here this evening. We report a lot on 3D printed homes on this program over the years, and here's a new twist. Now, this is a collaboration with robotics engineers, an Italian 3D printing company, and a Japanese company that are building earthen 3D printed homes. Wow. Now, it all is using AI technology, of course, and the first home was completed back in July. They're calling this creative process uncharted territory where traditional and conventional offered no guide. Where tradition and convention offered no guide. With an eye towards recycling, sustainability, and reduced carbon emissions, LibWork focused on combining 3D printing with natural materials enhanced for strength, constructability, and design quality. They've had a couple of models. Their first used some cement. However, the production and use of cement has industrial waste implications and not the greenest technology out there. So instead, they're using naturally derived materials with soil as the primary component to create sustainable earthen walls. Wow. The inventions from this development are patent pending, but pre-orders are being accepted sometime later this summer, it says. That's according to a media release. The walls contain cutting-edge sensors as part of the wall condensation monitoring system that monitors in real time the temperature and humidity inside the walls. This system enables the house to manage its own condition by detecting condensation in advance to maintain a long-lasting, comfortable living environment. The homes do include remote operations of air conditioning, lighting, bath controls, all via smartphone or dedicated monitors. Together with LiveWork, we hope to continue to provide architectural solutions that contribute to achieving a recycled-centered society. That is OVROP and partners. One of the partners is the 3D printers involved. By using local soil for on-site material production and by making all components easily removable, separable, and reusable, we aim to provide reused architecture that produces no waste when demolished. That's a big claim, folks. We're going to see how that one works out. We'll keep an eye on this story and more for you here on The Good News. And remember, if you'd like more, we do get some of our stories over at sunnyskies.com. Check them out. And this next story comes to us from Sunny Skies. Would you believe it that there is a very natural, oh my God, I'm going to say this, there's a natural relief for sleep apnea. Do you or anyone you know suffer from sleep apnea? Take a huge machine to bed with you every night? Well, by blowing through a conch shell, you may be able to treat your sleep apnea. This is new research coming from India. Now, patients who took part in the ancient practice regularly for 6 months experienced a significant reduction in their symptoms of obstructive sleep apnea. Blowing on the conch shell, called the shank blowing, has been part of Indian culture for thousands of years. The new study, published in European Respiratory Society's ERJ Open Research, showed that people with moderate OSA who practiced shanka blowing slept better and felt more alert during the day, but most importantly, they had fewer breathing interruptions at night. I can just imagine hearing someone in your household blowing on the conch for 5 or 10 minutes before bedtime. Now, the study involved 30 participants with moderate OSA between the ages of 19 and 65. The study happened between 2022 and 24. They were tested with polysomnography. Whoa! But overall, it was a sleep study. They were monitored throughout the night, and the conch blowing seems to help. Might require a little more private research, I think. Hey, folks, one of the things we know here on the New Thought Media Network is people do amazing things, and together we can accomplish just about anything. This next story is one of those touching moments where a rugby team carried a wheelchair-bound father to the summit of Snowdon Mountain in the Welsh Mountains over in the UK. Now, this was his lifelong dream. The 66-year-old had always wanted to reach the top of Snowdon, but thought it would be impossible after a motorbike accident at the age of 19 landed him in a wheelchair. Well, Phil's 29-year-old son, Sam, played for Bangor rugby team, and when the team heard about the dream, he knew he could make it happen. The club had been planning a fundraising trip up Snowdon, so this tied in perfectly. It wasn't what we initially planned, but it ended up being the perfect addition to our fundraiser, said Mark from the Bangor Rugby Club. And the Bangor Rugby Club is very community focused. Phil hasn't missed a game in over a year, come rain or shine. So it made sense to help him on the climb. Yep, they know what they did there. All in all, they decided if they could create a special frame to help carry Phil and allow him to use his chair when possible. Wow. Now, they did also have a fun GoFundMe that went along with all of this and did quite well. We want to congratulate the team in making this happen. What an important thing to do. All right, folks, we're going to take one more quick break, say thank you to our organizational sponsors and individual donors. However, don't go away. We're coming right back with more of the good news here on the New Thought Media Network, including this week's Hero of the Week. And you aren't going to want to miss this one. We'll be right back. Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you to all of our organizational sponsors and individual donors. It's thanks to your financial support that we're able to keep this message moving and get more of these good news stories out into the world. If you'd like to become part of our financial family and make a committed giving donation, please head over to the website, ntmedia.org. Click on the donate button, and the system will walk you through everything from there. Safe and secure. Join us here on the New Thought Media Network. All right, folks, you may think that this is our hero of the week, but it's not. But these brave folks in Florida did a great thing. A small plane crashed outside of Boca Raton, catching fire almost immediately. Two folks were still on board, and a trio of locals came to the rescue. The small Cessna Skymaster aircraft was approaching the North Perry Airport when it crashed into a tree. Laura Ingram said it's a miracle no homes were hurt. We heard this weird sputtering noise, and then boom, it sounded like a car explosion. The passengers, the pilot, an adult, and two children all survived with non-life-threatening injuries. But there was no time to celebrate as the black smoke began to fill the cabin. Phone camera footage shows a group of locals coming to the rescue, one bringing an axe, another a hose to battle the growing fire. Their efforts ensured all four were rescued and the fire was put out. They were honored in front of the county, and one rescuer, Eddie Crispin, said he was more intimidated receiving the award in front of the cameras than when it was time to be a hero. My neighbors, where the plane actually crashed, had a water hose and was hosing the plane down. Another guy showed up with the axe, and he was actually going to try to break the window. It was just pretty much all going on at the exact same time, but we did pull them all out one by one, Crispin told a local news reporters. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, dear ones. Everyone involved. We only have two names here, but we thank you for being a part of the good news, making it all work for people in the world. Hey, we've got another great hero type story, but it's still not the hero of the week. This one comes to us from Mexico. Manolo Acuna Zepeda is a beloved and experienced dive master in Cozumel. What happened is he was on his second dive of the day with a group of people he had been leading. They'd gone on a deeper dive and were now over a reef where they were practicing allowing the current to take them and not use much oxygen. So they were just kind of floating. The reef is off limits to speedboaters. However, a boat didn't know that or ignored that and came roaring through the area. Well, Manolo was lucky enough to catch a glimpse, pushed his people out of the way, but he, however, was injured, as you can see in the pictures there. A GoFundMe was set up, and the response by the dive community was immense. The GoFundMe received over 92% of the needed funds to cover all medical and rehab costs. He underwent surgery to stabilize a compound fracture in his right tibia and then another to repair his broken fibula. He did lose a significant amount of blood, but despite multiple transfusions, this became an issue during the surgeries. Blood donations from the dive community then kicked in, and people showed up to donate blood so that he was saved. He was discharged on August 8th, and everything's on his way towards healing. Almost $50,000 was raised for his medical bills and ensuring that Manolo will get to dive again. Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. All right, folks, here it is. Here's our hero of the week. Screams were coming from the woods, but the 3 lifeguards who had just started their shift at the Ohio pool didn't hesitate. They sprinted away from the Padalasca Municipal Park and raced toward the screams through the trees to the rushing river that flowed beyond. 18-year-old lifeguard Kevin Ross, pictured here, ran the 150 yards to the woods, hopped a fence, and made it to the river first. A woman was drowning in the murky waters of the Licking River, which had been surging after a series of summer storms. Caden told local news reporters, "There's a water hole down there, probably 15 to 20 feet deep, and I see a woman actively drowning. I save the mother, I bring her to a log, and then she tells me my boy's under there. So when she tells me this, I look in the water and I don't see anyone. Another guy came and got into the water with me, and as I'm saving the mom, I give him to one of my guards. He sees the little boy's feet, and the only thing we can see are little feet above the water. While the other lifeguards, happened to be Caden's sister Mackenzie and Lily Ward, attended to the panicked mother, Caden and the other impromptu hero worked to retrieve her 7-year-old son, who was almost completely submerged. When the 2 men got him out of the water, he was unconscious and not breathing. Caden used his lifeguard training to administer a couple of rescue breaths, then immediately started CPR. The CPR forced fluid from the boy's mouth, which is usually a positive sign in water rescues. Local police and fire responders arrived soon after to continue the rescue, but it was the lifeguards who make it all possible, providing heroism without hesitation at the most critical of moments. Caden told local news, "That creek goes on forever in those woods. It just happened to be in a spot where it was by a pool where there were lifeguards that were trained to save people drowning, and we heard the screams. I know God put us there in the right place and in the right time. The perfect place so a group of heroes could rush to save a mother and her son, and both are expected to make a full recovery." Caden and family and associates, thank you so very much for being part of our Heroes of the Week. Folks, I invite you to take this good news out into the world with you. That's about all the time we have for tonight. Go be a Caden. Rush towards the screams for help. Don't run away. Rush towards where we need the most work. I think that's the best work we can be doing in this day and age. I'm Dr. Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now, but I do want you to know that I love you. You're amazing. I really look forward to being with you again soon. But until then, I want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.